Hi, my name is Sophia, and this is what AP Psychology taught me about myself. Starting off with Unit 1, the base of biology, specifically, what stood out to me was neurotransmitters and drugs. Neurotransmitters are chemicals that send signals throughout the brain affecting things like mood, sleep, appetite, and learning about how drugs interact with neurotransmitters was especially meaningful to me because I grew up with someone struggling with addiction. And for a long time, I didn't understand why she couldn't just stop, or I didn't understand her perspective, and I didn't have a lot of empathy. But during this unit, I really understand the biological processes and aspects of what she was going through, and concepts like withdrawal, how it can affect how you feel, and it can be very irritating, and tolerance, how you can build tolerances to drugs after you take it a certain amount of times as your body stops producing its maintenance amount of serotonin or dopamine. And this experience made me have a lot more empathy for this person, and it confirmed my passion for biology and medicine, and it made me realize I truly did want to go to a career helping others who are struggling with challenges like this. But more on the biological aspect. In Unit 2, what stood out to me was studying and distributed practice and the forgetting curve. The forgetting curve explains how we naturally lose information over time if we don't review it. During my first semester, I struggled with procrastination and often crammed entire units right before the day of the test. Not only was I really, really stressed, I found myself relearning material that I already learned. So it was so much more time consuming than it already needed to be. But after I learned about this concept, I started spacing out my studying over several days. And in this way, I retained information much better and I spent less time reviewing. Additionally, my grades went up. This concept changed the way I approach learning and helped me develop healthier sleep habits. In Unit 1, which focuses on development and identity, the concept that stood out to me the most was Maria's identity theory, especially foreclosure and moratorium. Foreclosure is involves actively exploring different possibilities without making a firm commitment. And as a teenager preparing for college, I often feel caught between a limbo in these two stages. Throughout high school, I explored a lot of interests such as theater, business, and research, and I wasn't really committed to any of them. But now I'm entering college on a pre-med track, and sometimes I wonder whether becoming a doctor is truly my dream or just one that I got from my parents because I know it would make them proud. But regardless, I feel like this theory reassured me that questioning my future and exploring it is just a part of finding my own identity. Second, in Unit 4, Social Psychology, the concept that stood out to me the most was a halo effect. The halo effect occurs when people assume positive qualities about someone simply because they are attractive. As someone who has been exposed to both American and Korean beauty standards, I've seen how this affects a society as a whole, but also individually. In Korea, it is number one for plastic surgery, and it heavily focuses on lookism and how you present yourself. It can affect something as job opportunities or how you get treated in a store. And even in America, I feel like it's more subtle and unconscious, and that can be even harder to fix. And I feel like I've experienced this because when I met my grandma in Korea, and first thing she said to me was, "You need to get your eyes fixed," or like, "You need to get double eyelid surgery." But I feel like overall, it's encouraged me to think more critically about my own assumptions, but also made me more aware about how I present myself to other people, I know it does affect how I am being treated. Second, lastly in Unit 5, the concept of positive psychology stood out to me because it really reflected my life at the time and right now. Helping you thrive without directly, like with medicine or anything, can have such a big impact on you. Two important practices that I do today is gratitude and exercise. Throughout high school, I told you about the stressful times I had, and exercise was just a good way to relieve all the stress I had, volleyball, going to the gym, or simply just going on a run. And I would also practice gratitude. I had a journal where I would write down all the things I was grateful for and who I was grateful for. And it just really helped my mindset see what I did have instead of comparing myself in such a time where comparison was so easy with grades and college decisions coming out. And just overall, I feel like AP psychology is building so many healthy habits within me and how I see others and I see myself in more of an empathetic and positive light. And I feel like it just like also just builds habits like studying better, and not only just doing it, but it tells me the reasoning and understanding behind it. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Miss McGrath. Bye.